Chapter 20. The following morning, Mrs. Tracy announced to the class that Jessica was moving to Boston for more treatment. She would not be back in class. Some kids mumbled a couple of words. A few even said it was too bad, we were just getting to know her. But there wasn't much real talk about it. Now that Jessica was gone, we all felt like a heavy weight had been lifted from our shoulders. Everyone had wanted that to happen since the first day we saw her. Finally, it was okay to be goofy and loud and dumb and regular again. As Mrs. Tracy started into science, I glanced up from my desk. Courtney looked as if she were going to jump up and storm right over to me, but she didn't. Jeff didn't say much all day, and that was fine with me. After school, I went straight home. From the little window in my room, I could just see the back end of the moving truck parked in front of her house. I actually started over there. I wanted to see her again. I wanted to talk to her again. But halfway to the corner, I stopped. Beyond the front of the truck, in the driveway, I saw her mother holding a cardboard carton under one arm and pulling at the minivan door with the other. She tried once, twice, then finally got the door to slide open. Jessica appeared at the kitchen door, nudging it open with her arm. She dragged a thick duffel bag out onto the step. I started walking over again, but when Jessica lifted the bag across the walk to the car, I stopped again. Mrs. Feeney turned around and then moved back. I guess she was surprised to see Jessica so close beside her. Jessica looked at her mother and then pulled something green from the opening of the duffel bag. It was the stuffed frog she'd shown me the night before. She plopped the frog on her mother's arm suddenly, and then she hopped it jerkily across her mother's shoulder to her cheek and leaned it in as if it gave her a kiss. After a moment, she pulled it back, nuzzled it for a second, and then put it into the bag. All of this was done without either of them saying anything. I watched as her mother helped Jessica stow the bag and then went back into the house with her, slipping her arm around Jessica's waist. That was all there was to see. I turned and went back home. The rest of the afternoon, I just lay on my bed. Movers went in and out of the place, carrying boxes and furniture, less and less each time. I spent Jessica's last day there, staring out the window until it got dark. The next morning, I looked out, but the truck was gone, and of course, the minivan was gone too. The air was cool. Fall had finally moved in. It took me almost the whole day before I realized I wasn't sweating like I had nearly every day since school began. In fifth period, I caught Courtney looking at me again. She did nothing then, but at the end of the day, as the last buses were called, she surprised me at my locker. "You were nice to her," she said, coming out of nowhere. "To Jessica." Her voice was soft and nervous. Looking into her eyes that close, I was surprised to see, after all this time, that they were gray. "I didn't do anything much," I said. "You did. You must have. She nominated you to be class president because you were nice." That last word stung. I started shaking my head. I had so wanted to get all the feelings out of me for good. When Jessica left, I wanted all my mixed up thoughts about her to leave too, but it was like they wouldn't go. Now, as I stood there, the hallway thinning out, they came flooding out of me. I don't know why she did that. I tried to nominate her, but I didn't get to. I wanted to do so much, but I was so stupid and so scared, and now she's gone. My nose burned suddenly, and my eyes filled up. Oh, I'm sorry, this is so dumb. I started to turn, but Courtney reached out and touched me on the arm. It was a light touch. I saw that her eyes were wet too. "I think you probably made her feel better than anyone else did," she said. You went to her house. You took her homework and everything. I shook my head again. Mrs. Tracy told me to. But you went. No one else did. She stopped for a few seconds. Anyway, she had at least one person here who she liked. She liked you. I wiped my eyes and swallowed. Maybe. I'm pretty sure. And that was all. I didn't go to Jeff's house in the afternoons much after that. Even though a couple of weeks after Jessica left, he began inviting me again. He didn't move or go to public school after all. But it was too much of the same stuff all the time, and I just didn't want to hear it. Hanging with him and talking and laughing at the stuff he didn't seem right anymore. My mother asked me why I didn't go to his house like I used to, and I said that the 7th grade had more homework. I have to stay in the good reading level, I told her. My excuses to Jeff were pretty lame, too. I had to clean my room, move some plants, rake my grandparents' yard. After a while, he stopped asking and did more things with Rich instead. I thought it would never be like the way Jeff and I had done stuff, but with his empty house after school every day, at least he had somebody to hang around with. And Rich was okay. Jeff moved back into the seat next to me, and he and I still talked in school. Sometimes he was pretty funny. But it wasn't the same between us after Jessica. At first, I wondered how long she would even remember being at St. Catherine's. I mean, what was the big deal with us? The way she went from city to city and school to school, how could she remember one class over another? All the faces staring at her like ours did. Everyone so afraid of her. We must all blend together and get mixed up after a while. She had more important things to deal with than to remember all the dumb people around her. She had to live. Her days were filled with stuff so bad I could barely imagine it. But I did try to imagine it. I found myself zoning out in class, wondering what was happening to her. If she was in some hospital, if she was in another school and was at high school this time, where she should have been. Where in the classroom they put her desk? Did they make up stories about how she got burned? Did she still have that picture with her? Was she looking any different? Would she live as long as me? On the outside, it doesn't look like very much happened. A burned girl was in my class for a while. Once, I brought her some homework. In class, she said my name. Then she was gone. That's pretty much all that had happened. I wish I could say I was a better person because of Jessica, but I'm not sure. Every now and then, I wonder what she would think of the things I do or don't do. Would she get mad at me like an older sister would? Would she smile like when she said a vote for Tom that time in her room? Once, on a cool night, I imagined we were talking in her dark room again. Everything quieted down, and it was just us. I told her I talk to Courtney more now, but that she's not in my adventures so much anymore. I don't know who it is, because her face keeps changing. Then, even though I knew I was talking for both of us, Jessica said I should take all those snake pits and detachable ears and invisible elbows and find a way to do something really good with them. Maybe I will. Maybe tomorrow I'll get out there. One thing I know, if I ever saw her again, I think I'd start saying all kinds of stuff and probably wouldn't be able to stop. And I'd want her to talk too, a lot. I'd want us both to talk to each other deep into the night and not stop. Mostly, I'd want to tell her thank you, and I'd try to say it loud enough for everyone to hear.